So, hello all my YouTube fans. This is Doc, and this is my YouTube channel. Let's think about this. And in this particular channel, we're actually going to focus on capstone decision making. And I'm going to take you through this particular video of the R&D side of capstone. So I'm going to share my screen and give you a chance to kind of look at this. This is the entire research and development platform for Capstone. So I'm going to try to make this a 3 or 4 minute video and keep myself on time, as I think that sometimes we can only take knowledge in bite-sized nuggets. So the main thing about the Capstone video, just kind of an overview of it, is that you'll find that each of the 5 product segments or market segments have their performance as well as their size. And if you click on the little scaffolding icon for performance, it kind of describes that new performance coordinates on the perceptual map. So the perceptual map is this marketplace that we see over to the right. What's interesting thing about this marketplace is that each of these different products move at a certain drift rate, so to speak. And imagine, for example, a Ford Explorer 2019 has a certain area in the marketplace in terms of product price, location, and delivery. And the following year, that marketplace has changed a little bit. The pricing has changed a little bit. There's some more R&D that's put into that particular Ford Explorer. And how they sell it and where they sell it may change a little bit. So each of these products are kind of the same way. So as you see over in the upper right side, you see that this is a round 1 at the end of the year. So these are where the products will be at the end of the following year. Again, the scaffolding icon kind of gives you an idea what that is. The key is try not to have a product where you put enough R&D in that it takes longer than a year for that R&D to come online. So a couple of things you're going to need in terms of creating each of the positions for each of the marketplace and the age at revision, which is basically the new perceived age of the design when the product emerges from R&D. Now that does not mean you cannot sell anything until that new design emerges. It's the perception in the marketplace that yes, you are putting additional information into your R&D. And then that's the relative cost of that. And as you probably know, anything that it requires an upgrade or a movement in the marketplace or additional R&D is going to cost some additional funds. So one thing you will need is the industry conditions report for R&D, especially at the beginning, and after that you will probably need any report that's part of the Capstone Courier, which is basically the financial statements. So 2 things I like to do. There's a number of ways to figure out R&D and moving it, but I think the best way is to look at the center segments of each round and then look at the offset, the ideal offset for each round. So for example, in round 1, the traditional, well, we'll go to the low end. The low end is a performance size of 2.5 and 17.5. So 2.5, the center spot is about for the low end right here, about 2.5. As you see that go up to about 17.5. But that's not the offset. That's not the ideal spot. And in Capstone, our ideal spot, you just go back. Our ideal spot is in a different location. So our ideal spot, for instance, at the end of round 1, which is here, which is 3.0 and 17.0, the ideal spot at the end of that round 1 is minus 0.8 plus 0.8 in size from the center spot. So this will be the center spot at the end of round 1, and then this will be the ideal spot, the offshoot of that, or the offset, which means the calculations for that. So we have we have end of round 1 for the low end, 3.0, 17.0. So that's 3.0 minus the performance of negative 0.8, which will be 2.2. And then for the size, it'll be 17.0 plus 0.8, which would be 17.8. So 2.2, 17.8 is our coordinates, and that's acre, the low end. So we'd go here, 2.2, 17.8. And as we recalculate temporarily before we save any information, we see that our product has moved to the ideal spot at the end of the year. And that average revision date when it comes out of R&D is the 30th of August for 2020 in the following year. And the average age of your product, including whatever's in inventory, is about 2.6. Now, this costs us about $673,000. And so you want to keep track of that. Now, that's only one piece of the R&D. The other piece is how reliable do you want this product? And that's we describe that as mean time before failure specification. Basically, it's a number of indicates the average number of hours your product will operate before it fails. Now, that's a form of quality, and that is comparable in the marketplace as well to your competition. And so it's always a good idea to look at this in terms of what you want to achieve, and then what are your goals for that particular product. Let's say, for example, and I'm looking at the customer buying criteria, and look at one of my other segments of this talk about that. And I'm looking at the high-end, the low-end marketplace customer buying criteria, where price, age, ideal position, and mean time before failure. As you can see, the relevant importance of this is only 7%. But in the marketplace, when the competition is so tough, usually that 7% can make a big difference. So this is where you would have a discussion with your team about talking about where would you like to have your quality, and that could be an overall strategy. All my products are high quality regardless of which markets that they're in. And I would say let's test this for example. So we have a range between 12,000 and 17,000 hours, and we're currently at 14,000 hours in our last round. I'd say, I'm going to experiment and go 16,000 hours. Now, obviously, if I'm adding quality to the product, I'm actually going to increase the price. And that will also push the revision date, the perceived revision date of the product a couple more months out. So now I'm at in the ideal spot by calculating the center and then the offset of that center. I now have a product that's a higher quality product. It costs me a little bit more money, and my overall average age of my product, including anything I produced this year plus whatever I have in inventory, is 2.7 years, which, by the way, falls within the range of that buying condition. As you can see, it falls within that particular range. So, if the range is the year of the product, the age of the product is 7 years, and I have mine at 2.7, that is well under that criteria. So think about it this way, just for an R&D from this low-end segment, that I have a very high-quality product, I have it in its ideal position, I have it within the range of importance. So in a lot of sense, in more than one sense, I have pretty much all of the buying criteria covered. Now, there could be someone who have more quality than I do, which then will give us a little bit of a competitive show. We'd be in competition with that. The only thing I have to worry about from that point is how far do I want to price this? And that will be in another video. So, this is Doc and my YouTube channel. Let's think about this. And I guess Doc means double doc. So I have a PhD in organizational development, and I'm pursuing a PhD in learning science. And until next time, I just want you to remember, think about things before you act. Bye.